Welcome to Recovering Addict. I'm your host, LT, and I am an alcoholic addict.
I'm your co-host, Felice Weaver. Not an addict, but married to one,
Yep.
and I love him.
That's true. So if you are new here, you can expect a channel about support, love, and recovery, abstinence, and whatever it takes to get off drugs and alcohol, and relapse prevention once you get there. If you are brand new here, please like and subscribe, obviously, but drop us your sobriety date in the chat. Let us say hello to you and see what's going on and get to know you. And we are going to go through a book right now called Addictive Thinking, Understanding Self-Deception. And the key factor, a part of this book we're going through on chapter 19 is trust. But it's not kind of the trust that you would think it was, all the trust that we've broken. It's the trust that we need to have in our recovery. And we have to understand that recovery equals abstinence plus change. And that's going to be a formula that we're going to look at here tonight. So stick around. So let's say hi to everybody in the chat. That's Felice's job. She can say hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm trying to click this thing, and there's a billion different conversations going on. If I had my own mouse, it'd be so much easier.
She's been grounded from the mouse. I'll turn it on and see what happens. She gets one more chance again tonight, you guys. I think that's the sensitive one.
Either way, it's still his mouse. All right, let's see who's Aubrey.
There's the bear.
Lady Felice.
Aww.
You may call me lady. I am. It's like being a queen.
Brittany.
Hi. I almost said good morning. It's Good morning for Aubrey.
It's Friday.
Kayleen, welcome back again.
Hi, Raylene.
What up, Soup?
Soupy.
I just thought of something. We got Merkalicious.
Cheers, Mike.
Sent some bookmarks for him to sign today.
Yep, stuff's in the mail.
In the mail. We got Petey. Hello, Petey. Mr. Teeter. Hello,
Mr. Teeter. He's awake today, folks. He is awake.
Glad you're.
Hey, Lisa D. How's it going?
Hey, Lisa.
Nice to see you in the chat.
31120.
31120. Attaboy. That's my dog. That's my dog.
Desmond. Hello, Desmond.
Hey, good day, mate.
What up, Derek?
Derek, what's going on, brother?
Marcus is back. Hi, Sawyer House.
Yeah, Sawyer House in the chat.
Hearts.
Anchored Hearts, shout out to you guys.
Love you.
Hope you're staying strong and working that program. We're talking about therapy. We're talking about counselors and trust today.
Christine, 4 years today. Congratulations.
Yo.
That's amazing. Very amazing.
Man, I need
Takes hard work and dedication to get 4 years, man.
Wish I could just like chuck stuff through the screen to people, man.
Like confetti.
Confetti.
Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry, what's going on, brother?
What's poppin'? Ooh, he says, what's poppin'?
I love his picture. He's like,
Jeremy
"Get
Shaw.
those drugs,
Welcome,
man."
Jeremy Shaw.
Hey, Jeremy, nice to see you.
We got Sky's here. Hello, Sky.
Happy Friday.
Sky.
Happy
beautiful as
Friday,
always.
mates.
Happy Friday,
Green-eyed
mates.
Cat, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, Green-eyed Cat. It's been a minute.
Glad you're here. We got Jake Norwood. Hello, Jake.
Jake?
Jake from State Farm. Chatterino. There he is.
Going
There's
out.
the man. And that's all.
What's up, Chad? How's it going
That's it
today?
for now. Oh, Kyle. Kyle just popped in.
Kyle, what's
Hey,
going on,
Sam.
brother? So we were sharing some music back and forth. Des, what did you think about animals as leaders? 2 8-string guitars and a drummer that's just off the hook. I love that drummer.
We got Todd.
Todd, what's going on?
Scott.
What's going on?
We'll have to remember Todd.
Listens every night. I'm glad you made it out of the bushes and came to say hello.
Yeah, drop your sobriety date in there and let us know what's going on with you. What's up, Polly?
Oh, what's going on?
Yo.
No subs in Utah. I heard that. Come on now. We took you to Jersey Mike's.
Does it not count because it's called Jersey Mike's?
Okay. All right. That's a technicality, but you got us up there.
We got a show.
Another sober day. I'm trying to get to these Facebook user page, but it's just not cooperating with me.
Friday night. Thank
I cannot
God for another sober
See your
day.
name.
Raise your hand if you completed the day sober. And let's get through another hour sober here with some education. That's what this channel is all about. If you have not been here before, we learn tools. We learn things about ourselves. Why? Because abstinence is not the only part of recovery. Recovery equals change. We got to change. We got to change the way we think. We got to change the way we act and behave and the way we take things and our perception. So this chapter is a really good chapter. I'm excited to get into it. So let's get into our AA thought of the day from the 24 hours a day. June 26th, We must know the nature of our weakness before we can determine how to deal with it. When we are honest about it, we can change our lives through a change of thinking. We admit that we are alcoholics, and we would be foolish if we refuse to accept our disease or something about it. So by honestly facing our weakness and keeping ever present the knowledge that for us, alcoholism is a disease with which we are affected, then we can take the necessary steps to arrest it. Here's our question of the day. Have I fully accepted my handicap? And I have. It took 2 times of rock bottom for me in the early 2000s. It was meth addiction. I thought I just had a drug problem. I thought I was just partying, selling my oats, and I got in a little trouble. But no, the fact of the matter was I was an addict, and I can't say no to one more drink, one more sniff, one more smoke. I got to do it till it's gone or until I'm gone. You know what I mean? And it took a scare from jail to get me through that one. Not knowing that I was an addict, I remained abstinent from drugs and alcohol for a variety of reasons, but I was clean, healthy, into fitness, completely abstinence for alcohol for over 5 years. Started drinking in my 30s. Oh, it ain't gonna hurt. I can drink and be a normal person, but I wasn't thinking about it even like that. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna start drinking again on the weekends because I was abstinent from it because I didn't want to gain weight. I didn't want to lose muscle. I was doing all kinds of fitness stuff. That turned into a fifth a night and gallons on the weekend, blackout, ruining my life, killing myself type of drunk, which it took detox to get me off of and an IOP program to get me out of. And then, and only then, has recovery kicked in. Then and only then have I accepted my handicap and realized, wow, I have to stay completely abstinent from drugs and alcohol. I can't be now that weed's legal, this is me personally, I can't be just hey, let's run to Denver and eat some gummy bears and smoke a joint and come back and I'll have to take and buy a quarter, an ounce or whatever, bring it home with me because I'm going to smoke it every day till it's gone. I can't just go out and have a couple beers with the boys and leave a half a beer on the table. I'm going to drink that one. Then on the way home, I'm going to hit the liquor store and I'm going to drink probably until I'm blacked out. That's just the way I am. And I have to accept that. And knowing that about myself, I must remain abstinent. I'm the person who has to be abstinent from drugs and mind-altering drugs. It's just, that's the way it is. Link has to take 2 pills, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. The rest of his life because of his brain injuries. I cannot take drugs or alcohol the rest of my life because of my allergies.
And we got Carmen.
Hey, Carmen.
Shout out to Anchored Hearts.
Anchored Hearts in the house.
Oh, and you love Marcus.
I love Marcus.
That's cute. Hi, Misty.
Misty Jones.
We also
Nice to
have
see
a
you.
first timer.
Amy,
Amy
nice to
Lake
see you. 2013. Holy cow. Let me get my calculator to do the math on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good enough.
That's over 6 years. That's 6 years. Wow.
All right.
She's coming up on 6 years. She's two months away from 6 years. Wow. Good job.
Yeah, very good job.
Drop us a golden nugget. What's it taking to get you to that point in your life of that much recovery, that much that distance between you and addiction?
Yes, and the Facebook user was Bryson. So hello, Bryson.
Cheers, Bryson.
Robert says that's insanity telling you can drink on weekends. Insanity is great at setting us up. He makes plans if we listen to our mind. Equals being screwed.
Screwed. Here's our meditation of the day.
We got suicidal sounds.
Suicidal sounds.
And Alexis has made it.
Hey, Alexis, nice to see you. What's up, Bob? Fully accepted and more. I wasn't done reading Bob.
I was saying hi real quick.
I'm accepting the addictive thinking I suffer from also. Yeah, that's the big part of it, man. It's the addictive thinking. The personality disorders, the plural emotion issues, PTSD, various dysfunctions, the whole enchilada. Oh, yeah. Say it right here. I'm right there with you. The addictive thinking, the sin nature, the character defects that all are wrapped up in us that have been molded in us since we opened our eyes that we were alive. All of a sudden, blink, we opened our eyes and we were human and we're in this world and wow. And then it was learning from there, and we continue to learn every day. And all of that on top of all of that, plus addiction, no bueno. PTSD, I've never really understood PTSD with, the soldiers that go over or anything like that until I was holding him in my arms when he was dying and choking and all that. And then I was like, oh, I get it now.
Mark says, hi, Linky. What up, Naomi? I'm only 6
Naomi.
days in.
Good job.
Keep going. Alcohol has taken almost everything from me. Thank you for sharing with those of us who need it.
Naomi, 6
Right
days.
there.
Trust me on this. Okay, we're going to go through trust, and trust is trying to get somebody to see that when we talk about the reality and perception of somebody's thinking, the perception that life of abstinence from alcohol is better. In fact, even though alcohol may have seemed to help you for a time and make you feel better and cope with things, no, actually it's not. It's better on this side of the fence. And I can tell you right now from 33 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9, 4, 7 years of straight alcoholism, fifths a night of whiskey. The last year of my drinking was basically drinking as much as I could possibly drink in between my blackouts and pass outs. I would wake up to drink more and I would stumble to work. If I would have gotten caught driving to work in the last year, I would have gotten a DUI. Had I not had people that didn't care at work, and I'm not saying that they don't care, I'm just saying that, hey, I'll tell your breath stinks, get a breath mint, you know what I mean? And you got to take it easy, you got to hide and bob and weave and all those kind of things through your work. And had the upper management caught wind of how drunk I was actually or hungover, I should say, because I wasn't drinking at work and I didn't drink before I went to work, but I drank enough the night before that, yeah, I was still not in a good place. Bird
in house. Hello, Bird. Petey said, LT, that is 2 months away from 7 years. The 2012.
Thank you for checking my math, Petey, because that's not something I'm good at.
Oh, let's hear from Suicidal Sounds. I have been off of doctor prescribed opiates for now 5 years. Nice. They were hard to quit, but my life has changed immensely since I've been off them. That's awesome. I'm glad. This stuff scares me.
Way awesome.
I got a joke.
And just so you guys all know in the chat, Aubrey is a male.
A male bear.
So please do not pass that in, men.
He just got out of hibernation. He is here with us now.
Amy, she is almost 7 years.
Sorry, Amy.
Oh, she did the math for you too.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
See, we got what I got here.
Meeting, step work, higher power, sponsorship, helping others, service.
Yes.
Yes, we love that. Never forget where I came from.
Thank God.
Exactly.
I got a joke.
Oh, Linky's got a joke.
What sound does a limping turkey make? Wobble wobble.
A limping turkey says wobble wobble.
Yeah.
Bob proofread the book art.
Oh, good, Bob.
Hi, Grandma T.
Oh, let's get into the meditation. I didn't read my meditation.
And Marilyn. Hi, Marilyn, real quick.
There's a proper time for everything. And right now is the proper time for recovery. Huh? I must learn not to do things in the wrong time. That is, before I am ready or before conditions are right. Right there, man. That is the serenity prayer, isn't it? I must learn not to do things at the wrong time. That is, before I am ready or before the conditions are right. And that's the wisdom we're asking for from God. It is always a temptation to do something at once instead of waiting until the proper time. That's me to a T right there. Wow. Timing is important. I must learn in the little daily situations of life to delay action until I am sure that I am doing the right thing at the right time. So many lives lack balance and timing. In the momentous decisions and crisis of life, they may ask God's guidance. But into the small situations of life, they rush alone. Ooh, even in the small decisions in life, y'all. Let's pause and think and ask God. It kind of talks about that in the book, and I wanted to make a point about that too. It wrote me a little note. So here's our prayer of the day. I pray that I may delay action until I feel that I am doing the right thing. I pray that I may not rush in alone. That's awesome.
That is awesome. I like that one.
Me too.
Aubrey woke up 4 mornings ago and the devil greeted him and looked at him and gave him a dirty look, and he walked away scared thinking it was me. It was God behind me. I like that.
Hi, Mandy.
What up, Mandy?
Holly, if I didn't say hi, hello.
to Holly and Jacqueline.
Jacqueline,
in the
nice to see you again.
house.
Glad you're here.
Always love to see everybody. Hello, if I missed you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if we miss your chat, if you have a question and we somehow miss it, you guys can shoot me an email here at recoveringaddict@gmail.com. That's a good way to get a hold of me. Obviously, through our private Facebook group, which Felice will post in the comment. We also have a Discord. Through either three of those means, it will come to this device and you'll get a hold of me.
I'll post a Discord too. Y'all.
Yeah, so join us. And if we miss your question, throw it out there and I will make sure to talk about it either on the next stream or answer you personally right then and there. Thank you for the words of encouragement, everyone. Without my daughter, I would probably have just drank until I didn't wake up from a final blackout. Having sober support means the world to me. All of your, oh, amen. Well said. 29 in the house on a sober Friday in recovery.
It's
Yes,
Friday?
it's Friday, guys.
Thank God.
And we're not out ruining our lives. We're practicing and learning things to keep us going, to make us better people. Better people.
Ooh. I have another strategy of how to not do drugs or drink. I have a better strategy of how not to do drugs or drink. Say, I can't go to the liquor store because I'm stuck home in quarantine.
That's a
go.
good strategy. Can't go when I'm in quarantine. So if you've just joined us and you're wondering what this channel is all about, if you're still drunk or high, we want to be here to support you. We all have been there. We've all been the suffering addict. If you are 6 days clean, we're here to support you and love you and be here to help you through the times that are coming, because 6 days sober, 6 days clean, your mind is still trying to get right. You're looking at the world around you and it's spinning. You may feel emotionally dead, or you may be feeling emotionally just, what are these things? And we're here for you. And if you're got years of experience, we got books to back us up, because living on experience alone is good. Our past experiences definitely are our best teacher, but educating is like putting a turbo on the car. We can speed through our recovery if we take and listen to people who are wiser and smarter, who have been there and studied, and we can learn how to prevent relapse. Relapse prevention is a huge part of this channel because we don't have to relapse. And the more we can learn and then contemplate, chew on, practice in our daily lives when no one's looking, because who you really are is who you are when nobody's looking. Okay? And that's when the tough times are really at. And so today we're going to be talking about addictive thinkers and trust. On top of our addiction, we've created a mind, molded a mind of addictive thinking. And we have to break that cycle, break those processes, break them down. Because recovery, you're either on the road to recovery or you are on the road to relapse. The way one of the books that we went through described it is a escalator that's moving down, right? You guys have ever been kids, or even as an adult, ran up a down escalator? That is recovery. You're walking, and as soon as you stop, you start going down. And the moment you stop on this down escalator, that's when relapse happens. Right there. And that's the process we have to begin and go, oh crap, I'm going down. And you start walking back up again. Because once you're going down, blinders of denial start wrapping your head. And by the time you hit the bottom, you're drinking and using drugs again. So we got to stay conscious. We have to learn our things about ourselves. We have to look at warning signs, and it takes a long time. We didn't become alcoholics and addicts overnight. We're not going to be recovered and better people overnight. Some people, it takes years and years and years. We don't want to be dry drunks. We don't want to be somebody that's more miserable sober than they were when they were drinking or using.
Very true. Thank you, teacher, for my alien. I'll show you guys. It's a Dunkin' Donuts alien from Teeter.
And we got all kinds of keychains from
Yeah.
Teeter.
Check that out. I can't wait to put my New Mexico plate on my Utah.
Yeah, we just got a new little broom, a little A to B car. It's just this cheap little car. You have to roll the windows down still like this. The kids got in the car. They're like, how do you roll the windows down?
That's so funny.
And we're going to throw the license plate on there.
That'll be awesome. Update on Bob. The angry meth addict is slamming my door really hard, raging female. God calls me to love my enemies. Ugh, my worst enemies are my family, historically and currently.
There's nothing you can get out. There's nothing you can say to get out of loving somebody. Oh, she's my wife and we're not doing very good. Well, God says, love your wife. Well, she moved out and she lives down the street. Well, no, God said, love your neighbor. Well, I hate her. She's my enemy. Well, God said, love your enemies.
Yeah.
No matter what, we are to love one another, period.
But there is a difference between love and enabling. You can still love someone while not enabling
Yep.
someone.
Amen to
They
that.
call it love from a distance.
Treatment for professionals. All right, here we go. We're getting into our book now. Treatment professionals and others can use many techniques to gain the trust of an addict. Our trust has to be gained back because of the things that have happened to us, right? But whatever method, successful treatment depends on an addict's trust. So whatever counselor, whatever we got to do to earn your trust, success of what you get from this channel is the trust we can earn from you or your counselor or your sponsor or anybody in your AA that's speaking to you. Let's realize, I love this part, let's realize what we're asking of an addicted person. When we're talking to a still suffering addict, we have to understand what we're asking of them, to join us in this road to recovery. First, we're asking the person to completely and permanently abstain from the use of chemicals that has made life livable. Maybe the only thing that has made life tolerable. And this is a very big thing to ask somebody. Oh, that's made your life livable and that's making your life tolerable? Even though, you know what I'm saying? Don't do it anymore. That's a huge thing to ask somebody. So there's a bright recovering sales rep. He said to me on the 10th anniversary of sobriety, "Doctor, when I was in detox and you showed me my physical exam and the lab tests, you explained that if I didn't stop drinking that I would soon die. That didn't faze me. I would have chosen to drink and to die. I could not conceive of living without alcohol when I needed it. There's that addiction thinking when we're in our active addiction that I need it. I felt every night on our way home that if I didn't swing by the liquor store and grab a bottle, I felt like panicky, anxiety. I felt like I needed it. Everything in my soul said I needed that drink. And it's true. Even when I did, and that's a part of my story, went to the doctor, he drew my blood, he's going through all my numbers, he gets to my enzymes and he stops, turns his chair and looks at me and goes, "How much do you drink?" I lie, of course, and I tell him about half of what I drink. He basically said BS without saying BS. You want to live to be past 50? You want to watch your kids grow up? You need to quit now. Next time I see you, I want you down to 10 drinks a week, because he understood the whole quitting and all that stuff could kill you. And guess what I did that night? I drank another fifth. And I didn't quit drinking for a little while after that. I didn't, just because he told me that I'm about to die from drinking, it didn't stop me. Abstinence is often a formidable challenge, but even abstinence is not recovery. It's only a prerequisite. The prerequisite to recovery is getting rid of drugs and alcohol. Next sentence is really important.
The one you just read, pretty sure. You're right. That is an important sentence.
Recovery requires a change in attitude and behavior, which means a change in the way the addicted person thinks and has thought for most of his or her life. Let me read that again. Recovery, because getting off drugs, getting off alcohol is just the first step. It's just the prerequisite, right? Recovery requires a change in attitude. Think what your attitude is. What is your attitude? It's the way you perceive things. It's the way that you act after you've acknowledged a situation, right? Your attitude. That has to change. Your behavior, the way that you move and go about life and react to the situation, has to change. Which means a change in the way the addicted person thinks, because you have to think to change those two things. Your thinking is what is producing your attitude and your behavior. So it means a change in the way the addicted person thinks and has thought. So you have to change the way you think and the way that you have been thinking most of your life. It means overcoming addictive thinking. And here's that formula that I was talking about. Okay? Recovery equals abstinence plus change.
I forgot the V.
I don't care.
We passed the sanitizer. Merck said we need to sanitize so they don't get Rona.
She needs to sanitize. I need a curtain right here.
They don't want the Rona.
Here, put this on your microphone.
Yes.
So recovery, the way I spell it on there, recovery equals abstinence plus change. That's awesome. You're off drugs and you're off alcohol. Now it's time to make changes within your mind. Alcoholism, right? This is something I learned in my IOP. I've heard, and it's been kicked around for years, I'm sure, but it's stuck with me too. Alcoholism. You get rid of the alcohol, you're still left with the ism. And that ism is our attitudes and our behavior. And so that's the formula right there to recovery. And don't forget, we recover better together.
Yes, we do. That's what Bob's talked about. Abstinence is not recovery, only a prerequisite.
Amen.
And thank you, Derek. No judgments here.
None. Zero.
Whatever you believe is what you believe, and we love it. But I agree.
I give God the glory, Derek. I'm right there with you, brother.
100%.
Is that it? No more comments you're going to pull up?
If it wasn't for the grace of God, says Peter.
There goes us.
Mm-hmm. Great point.
Unmerited favor. Green-eyed cat. So we've got at least 6 people now that like to chit-chat from Australia. That's so cool.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Australians. Great Friday night and Saturday afternoon.
Saturday morning for you guys.
Morning.
It's 10 a.m. over there.
That's it. Fixed it.
Hope you guys are having a great Saturday morning. So the difficulty of reasoning with addicts. Here's why it's hard to reason with an addict. Now, I'm just going to read this because it's pretty much story form. Think for a moment what would happen if someone you trusted told you to take something precious, such as fine crystal vase or a valuable porcelain sculpture, and drop it from a 4th floor window onto the sidewalk below. You might say, are you crazy? That's a family heirloom. It's priceless to me. Why should I do such a foolish thing and break it? Imagine your friend replying, that's where you're wrong. You see, you've been operating under this delusion that there's a law of gravity, and that when you let go of things, they fall down. But you've been the victim of deception. There is no such thing as a law of gravity. Trust me, my friend, you'll see that if you extend this vase sculpture out the window and you let go of it, it will not drop to the ground. It will remain suspended in the air, and you can retrieve it at any time you wish. No doubt you will conclude that your trusted friend has flipped. The person who is insane, the poor person is insane, you tell yourself. I've always known that when I let go of things, they do fall, and that there is a law of gravity. This poor lunatic friend of mine is trying to convince me that gravity is absurd. How crazy can this person be? So when we try to convince addicts of the fallacy of their thinking, it is like telling someone that his or her belief in the law of gravity is delusional. It is the height of futility to expect an addictive thinker to abandon the concept of reality and accept ours instead.
He says, I can't thank you enough for these live streams. You all have spoken straight to my heart with a lot of this conversation.
Praise God.
Put you where you need to be, just the right time.
Thank God for his perfect timing, huh?
Agreed. Aubrey says, when I first sobered up, I felt a symptom of shell shock, staring in space, flashbacks, traumatic scenes, nightmares, depression, unworthy, guilt, remorse, paranoid. That was me. I walked around having an empty head, but on the other side of the coin, I was irritable, hateful, scared. Took the 12 steps and maybe 3 years before I felt freedom. Chad totally relates. Bob says the author of this book has a sense of humor.
Yes, he does. I've noticed a few of his little twerks or whatever. Idiot. What are those called?
Idiocracies?
No. Idioms. No, not an idiom. But yeah, I've noticed.
Idiosyncrasies?
Yeah, idiosyncrasies. Yeah. The essential factors in recovery. So if that's the case, I mean, we've been there. I've had people sit me down and say you drink it too much, and I just like, hey, yeah, whatever, you know. And I try to put myself like, really, was I thinking that when people were talking to me that I had that much of a problem? Because I have friends that are in recovery, like Mark, you see him on my channel, one of my really good friends. He would come and tell me all the time, bro, you need to, chill out on the drinking, kind of, those types of conversations. And to him talking to me was trying to convince me that gravity was not a thing, that I was delusional to think that. And it's crazy to think that I was at that point in time. And so knowing that we think like that, even when I was a meth addict, man, I was off the hook when it came to meth. And I was the type that was so crazy. I was always the one that took it just a little too far. One of my cousins, I ended up running with him, and he had been a meth addict for years, a lot longer than I ever have. He's 13 years older than me and my aunt, way more. And they ran with me for a couple of weeks and saw me get arrested and go to jail, and they quit. They were like, all right, this is LT. I was a part of their rock bottom in a sense. Like, look at him, I'm done. And so that's the question, is if we are in this big of a delusion that our drugs and our alcohol consume, and our perception is so wrong, then how the heck does recovery ever happen? How is it possible if you're sitting there right now going, that I can never change? If that's the case, if that is the true case, that we're that delusional, how can we change?
Good question.
How do we do it? And it's a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about in here already. There's two essential factors, he says. Addicts must lose faith in their current reasoning power. When you start justifying your addiction, you start looking at the why, even if you start into relapse and you start thinking about going to the liquor store, you start contemplate calling an old friend, who would come over with some crap in his pocket. You know what I mean? When you start thinking in that reasoning thing, you have to lose faith in that type of mindset, the way that you've justified doing what you've been doing. You know what I mean? Addicts must learn that their concept of reality and their thought process is distorted. Unfortunately, others can do little to cause the addicted person to doubt a lifelong thinking pattern. So you have to you got to be shaken out of it, right? The only thing that will cause the addict to doubt is a rock bottom experience. Do you guys remember what we learned about rock bottom 2 chapters ago? Rock bottom is when your perception of reality. Remember, as humans, you can almost relate us to like water. You pour water down, you know how water always finds the easiest path wherever you put the hose, wherever you dump a glass of water or a bucket, whatever. It's always going to find the easiest way to get downstream. Us addicts have the same thing. When we see a situation, we're not going to go, ooh, that's the harder one and more miserable situation, I'm going to flow that way. No, that one looks lesser over there, I'm going to flow that way. So in our perception, we see that using drugs and alcohol is the lesser of the evil. And so we go to drugs and alcohol. Hey, Aaron.
Aaron.
And we never move into the opposite direction until the scales tip and we see that, wait a minute, recovery is better and using drugs is worse. That's a rock bottom experience, when that perception changes to notice that, oh, recovery, that's the better route. That's what we learned about rock bottom. An event that can make the addict reconsider his or her behavior and attitude. And then at this time, the therapist or professional can move in and say, look, you're becoming aware that your perception of reality is incorrect and that your ways of thinking have been distorted. I will help you discover a valid system of thinking. It's good to have. That's why they say get a sponsor with years of sobriety. That's why they say find a counselor, an IOP, a group of people that's going to help you find a different and a more valid system of thinking. What did Naomi say?
Let's go to Naomi. Without bringing everyone down, I've been contemplating checking out of this world. The way I was the way I was is disgusting, and I didn't think I could ever find acceptance or forgiveness. I didn't realize how similar other addicts' alcoholic stories can be. It's genuinely our mentalities. As awful as it might be, it comforts me to know that I'm not the only one who has been this way, especially since I see other individuals very similar to myself that found and held on to their sobriety. Sorry for the
Novel.
We like novels.
No, don't ever be sorry for writing something like that, ever.
Yeah.
Naomi, we don't want you to check out of this world because you are exactly where I've been. I remember vividly, and I told Felice about it once. I don't know if she remembers or not, but I don't know what it was. I was in my active alcohol addiction. I was on my way home. Everything around me was just, I don't know. It was just life on life terms that I couldn't deal with, even though it was nothing. You know what I mean? I came flying through not a red light, but I came flying through a yellow light, I think it might have been. I took my hands off the wheel and I just floored it. I was like, and I didn't care. I was kind of hoping to get hit, but it didn't happen. But that's what I was going through at that moment. I understand what you're feeling and going through. And thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah, you're not alone. Sounds like a lot of people feel that way. But we're glad you're here. Sticking around, hanging out with this community.
Amen, Naomi. You reach out whenever you want. I hope you're part of our private group and our Discord and our Zoom meetings. Just join us. Come alongside. We're here for you. Everybody in the chat, I guarantee you, will drop everything they're doing and get on the phone.
Yeah, and just talk to you. Sometimes you just need to talk and
Yeah,
have somebody to
sometimes
listen.
Great listeners in this chat.
Peter, he said from a 3-time suicide survivor,
Whoa.
ending your life is not worth it.
Have you guys seen that? Have y'all seen that guy that talked about when he tried to commit suicide on the San Francisco Bridge? I guess a lot of people do. Maybe it's not San Francisco Bridge. Maybe it's a different one, but one that a lot of people jump off of. He wanted to commit suicide. He got to the edge and he jumped because he wanted to kill himself. But he said as soon as he let go, he completely regretted his decision as he was falling, right? And did not want to die. He was like, oh, that was the wrong choice. He hit the water and lived. But he tells of that experience, that 1 second change. As soon as he let go to commit suicide, he didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? I've heard it said too, just if you just wait, just give it some time. If you're in that position, you're at that tipping point, just wait. Your mind and attitude, this too shall pass, will change, and you will be glad you didn't. So the second thing that has to happen is addicts must accept the possibility of another version of reality from someone that they trust. So two things at how to recovery, right? How does recovery happen? The first one is basically a rock bottom experience, and you have to have that perception change within yourself. The second one is an addict must accept the possibility. Hey, Felice told me this, and man, let me think about the possibilities that might be true because I trust this person, right? You're welcome, Naomi.
Yes, that's what we're here for.
Oh, Mark's seen that story.
So did Green Cat. She said dolphins circled him till help came.
Yeah, something like that.
That's crazy.
Something crazy.
Dolphins are so wonderful.
Dolphins are amazing.
We're here for you, girl. I've struggled, and this community has pulled me through again and again.
100%.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here. That unconditional love.
So Abram says that he tries to help patients in treatment understand this reality check by giving them an example of an excellent cook who has always, this is a really good thing. So I'm going to get some tea. Before we get into this next example, I'm going to play Cassie's quote of the day, and I'm going to grab me another cup of tea because I can't find my other cup. And
lost your cup of tea?
Yeah. Where is it? Cassie's quote of the day. Tell me, you guys, I changed it up just a little bit. Tell me if you like it. Here's Cassie's quote of the day.
Good evening, my recovering addict family. I'm here tonight with your motivational quote on recovering addict. Knowing thyself is the height of knowledge. Socrates.
Ooh la la.
And as always, let's bring it together and continue to spread that love.
Yes, thank you,
Love it.
Cassie.
Cassie. Love you, Cassie.
Please feel free to send me a friend request or send me a message anytime. Hey, all right, we will. For
Okay,
sure.
I'm gonna
Same goes
share-
for me.
I'm going to share your name on YouTube side.
I got 3 places on Facebook. I got the Recovering Addict page. A lot of people might be watching right now. Let me see. It looks like there's probably 8 people on there. The Recovering Addict group, which is another place you can. And then my my Leonard Weaver, just my personal Facebook. All of them are intertwined. Hit me up on any of them. Hit me a friend request, whatever. I'll accept it. I'm not worried about it. That's for sure.
There's YouTube folks. There's a link to her Facebook.
New
Yeah, I
theme
wanna
song
be
for
her
Cassie,
friend.
and of course, did you hear that? Ooh la la! When she winked, add a little noise to the wink, just for fun. You have a condition that only addicts will understand, Naomi. That's true. Those people are family now. Amen. It took me a long time to accept and appreciate that truth. That's so true. Wow. There's just something about the community when you walk into an AA. I mean, I was creeped out my first AA meeting. I got drunk that same night, so obviously I wasn't ready. My perception hadn't changed yet. But as soon as I was ready and understood, like, just the freedom of one thing that got me when I went to my IOP, because you're at work, right? You got all the small talk. You got, how was your weekend? You know, just the same talk and jokes over and over. Same situations, same joke, just a little different person. And it just drives me nuts, right? Rarely is there really any soul conversation. So I get to this IOP and all of a sudden we're talking and we're having like real, honest, true conversations. And it was like a huge, giant breath of fresh air. And that's what I feel when I'm with this recovery community, with people in chat who reach out. It's just amazing. I love exactly what Green Eyed Cat said.
Well, it doesn't show us that on here. We just see the comments. But I'm glad you're open to all the others sending you a friend request.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Whoopsie.
Thank you, Green Eyed Cat. So thankful to have love and support from people who understand. There's something about just someone understanding that just makes it that much better and comforting.
Now let's get into this why we recover better together thing, right? That's why that slogan I use, I live by, we recover better together. And so this guy, he tries to help his patients out by understanding this reality check by giving him an example of an excellent cook who always cooked by tasting, right? He never threw the recipe. He didn't say, well, let me measure this. Let me measure this. He was a good cook, right? Ooh, that needs a little more of this. That tastes good. That needs a little more of that, right? So after putting the ingredients, the cook tastes the concoction, adds salt, sugar, lemon, spices, whatever, tasting the mix periodically, always adding what is missing because he knows best by tasting it. But what happens if this cook develops a serious head cold? You know how it works when you get a head cold in your sinuses and you can't taste and stuff. So what's he going to do? He doesn't measure, he doesn't cook, and now he can't taste it, right? Since the cook doesn't rely on measurements, the next best thing to do is what? Call someone and ask, could you please taste this for me and tell me what you think it needs? I have a bad cold and my taste is off. Help me see reality. Hey, I'm thinking about this situation like this. Can you help me just, that's what I call my sponsor for that all the time. Let me read this little paragraph and I'll get into a thing that I've been practicing for it's actually been a few years. For addicts, a treatment staff can provide this function. The addict's taste buds for assessing reality are not functioning properly. A treatment professional can help the addict to assess reality and develop a correct system of thinking. Help me see reality. I've noticed that in my big decisions in life that I've made over the last, I'm going to say 5 years, I ask about 10 different people what I should do. And I'm not banking on any one person's suggestion and not going to do what that first person tells me to do. But I go to about 5 to 10 people that I trust. I say, here's my situation. Help me make a decision. And then I just listen. And they give me all their feedback on what they might do, on what they may have experienced and this and that. And then I go to the next person. I ask them the same question. And then I just listen. And then after I've asked my 5 or 10 people, I got a pretty good idea about where I'm headed by then. I contemplate it, pray about it. And obviously I've been praying about it through the whole thing. And then I act. And then I make that decision after I've sought counsel through wise people. There's my sponsor I talk to. There's a pastor in Salt Lake City who's a counselor, like legit. He's a 2-time doctor. I text him and ask him often about, hey, I'm heading down this road and this journey. I just texted him the other day. He's on sabbatical right now, but I said, hey, I'm heading down this road, like all the road that I'm heading down right this second with Recovering Addict, nonprofit, and all this stuff that's formulating behind the scenes. I'm saying, hey, I'm going down this journey in life, and I just want your counseling on what you think I should do. And I accept those things. And that's part of when you pray that serenity prayer, God, give me the wisdom to know. You know what I mean? That is, God puts people in our lives for that reason, because we're a community. We recover better together. Help me taste this. My taste buds aren't working.
I think so.
That's been my life for like 7 days.
7 days?
All congested up in here.
Developing trust in a treatment. Oh my gosh, we're not going to get through this whole book tonight. This might be a 2-night trust one. This might be 2 nights. All right, we'll get through and see how far we get. So isn't it a bit much to expect the addict to trust a person he or she has never seen before? So how do you trust somebody? You walk into an IOP, you walk into AA, there's other people around. How do you trust people? Because most addicts have the lack of ability to trust. If they grew up in a home with alcoholic parents, they've had little opportunity to learn trust. Home may have been filled with lies and deception. If you grew up around not trustworthy people, your parents speaking of, how could you come out into the real world and trust anybody?
Ooh, speaking of trust, how could you trust God even though you've never actually seen him?
That's a good one too. The drinking parent lied to the sober parent deceived the drinking parent. Most children of alcoholics have learned that no one can be trusted. Even kids that grew up in healthy homes have the same type of battles. An addict who encounters a treatment professional may have little reason to trust this person. The rock bottom experience may have pulled the foundations from beneath the addict, who feels suspended as if in midair. And a treatment staff or person shakes their hand with the addict and says, we will try to help. And that's a big deal. If addicts have so little trust, how do they accept treatment from doctors or dentists, or submit themselves to surgery? The answer is that the professional helpers are not saying things to contradict what the addict already believes. The dentist says the addict's wisdom tooth is impacted and must be removed. The addict never believed that the impacted wisdom tooth should not be removed. So the caretaker, the IOP counselor, your sponsor, is not going to contradict a person who's had this rock bottom experience and saying, hey, drugs and alcohol, I think, are ruining my life. They're going to be like, I agree, and I think I can help you. And that's a big deal. That's that beginning of that trust that's being made. Treatment for drugs and alcohol. What happened? The battery died? We're still here. Hold on. Was it the camera?
It was like the line was loose.
Could have been the battery.
Maybe it's battery. Not my fault this time.
Knew it.
Technical difficulties. Sorry about that, folks.
I think Sober James has those all the time.
The lights went out in Georgia. Oh, that was weird.
The lights went out in Georgia. I love Reba McEntire.
Blackface, not cool.
Who said that?
TJ.
TJ. Oh boy.
Aubrey said to pay our bills. Can't. I'll take quit a
I
job.
quit my job, can't afford electricity. See you guys later. Dang it.
What did
Where
I
was
say?
I?
I don't even know what I
Oh,
whispered.
nice.
Did you hear? You can't hear me.
What did she whisper?
I don't know. It's probably that
I'm
it wasn't
listening,
my
but I
fault.
can't help be distracted by the person in the yellow jacket on the projector screen.
Oh, that went out too. It was I think it was Nate's avatar.
Oh.
He's gone now.
Well, that was weird. What was that? Like a glitch of power or something happened.
Cranberries.
Got some shady wiring here.
You know what? I blame Carol Baskins.
Carol Baskin did it. What?
I blame her.
Okay, you guys heard it from Link. That was from Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskins. It was the aliens. 2020 aliens, Teeter. 2021. They're coming. The 2021 aliens. Got my fingers crossed.
So-
Independence Day.
Though we trust these doctors for surgery, we'll get right back into it because this is a big chapter. So we trust doctors for treatment. We trust dentists, right, to help us out. But treatment for chemical addiction is different. The addict will have to begin thinking in new ways in recovery, and that calls for profound trust.
No, stop. Just turn the Xbox off.
Oh, it's on, but it's off.
Well, it was just dancing again. Jerry's like, "It's back."
Oh,
You can't watch him anymore, Jerry.
he's back.
There's a meth gator?
Meth gator.
What? Murder hornets and meth gators? I
Look
need to
at
do
Mark.
some Googling.
Save the investigators. It's a trigger.
I see it, Jerry. You guys are all hallucinating. It's delusions.
Us addicts in treatment, we have to have a reason to think that we're not going to be misled, right? That their welfare is the prime goal of treatment, that we trust in these counselors, that our welfare is the goal of this treatment. People in treatment for chemical dependency test those treating them, as you should. You should definitely check your doctors out and make sure that they're legit and know what they're talking about, 100%. Treatment staff tell them much, if not everything, they believed until now is wrong. That their thinking has been distorted and is incorrect, and that they should rely on someone else's thinking. In the past, residential treatment programs typically lasted for 4 weeks. Many years of addictive thinking cannot be reserved in 28 days, but at least the addict had a head start while in a chemical-free environment. But today, with outpatient treatments essentially replacing residential treatment, most addicts do not have the benefit of this protected period. So that protected period on an inpatient treatment for 30 days or whatever is a great head start in treatment. What?
There's really meth gators. John said so. And Naomi said, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. When life gives you gators, make Gatorade. What do you do with meth gators?
Oh, man, that's Coca-Cola.
Oh my
Energy
gosh.
drinks? Yeah. Agreed, Aaron. Carol Baskin is to blame for all wrongs. He said, Materade,
Gatorade.
Robo Bees.
Killer Hornets. Yo, we should make a show, like a documentary. Killer Hornets from outer space.
So if there is failure, we are now on page 111, failure to address addictive thinking. Basically, what that last chapter said is to get into a place where you can trust, where the counselor has time. It took me 5 months in my IOP, and this allowed the therapist a bit longer time to help me make a transition from my addictive thinking to normal thinking, right? So let's say a newly sober addict leaves treatment program after a period of enforced abstinence in which he or she overcame physical withdrawal. All right, you're in a 30-day treatment facility. You are past the physical withdrawal symptoms, but immediately resuming use of alcohol or other drugs right after treatment indicates that the person did not begin to change his or her addictive thinking. No person thinking clearly would want to promptly return to active addiction. And the only possible conclusion is that the person remained in addictive thinking. People who relapse right out of IOPs have not made a change up here. They are still in addictive thinking. Somehow they've reasoned with themselves that the lesser of two evils, recovery or relapse, relapse was a good idea, is an addictive thinking. Something justify it in their mind and talk them into going back to drugs and alcohol, which is our addictive thinking, which we have to get a hold of, at least learn, so that we can recognize and make changes.
Give her your warning. Do it. Do it.
I'm looking forward to seeing what 30 days feels like. When you get to that 30-day mark, we will give you a warning of be careful and up your program, because from 30 to 60 days, there's some bump in there where your addictive thinking has grown powers and starts really talking to you. And it's a bump in the road that a lot of people, I bet you 90%, 80 to 90% relapse around that time.
And we got a video for you.
And yes, please send that sage for our house, Teeter.
Thank you, Teeter. Can we use the chili powder you sent?
Will that work? Do we do circles like salt? But
I'm going to put some of the chili powder that you sent across our threshold of our front and back door.
I think
That might work.
I feel like it's the same.
And when this churn happens, check this out. This is kind of profound. I can't believe he said it this almost this absolute. So if a person's in a 30-day treatment facility, gets out, immediately relapses, he says this in turn almost always means that the therapist was unable to gain the trust of the client. Whoa. This is not necessarily a reflection on the therapist's skills and dedication, okay? The person may have entered treatment with a deep sense of distrust and unable to trust anybody yet. This person, so maybe the first step after abstinence is to gain the trust. If you're trying to help somebody, how can we gain the trust of deeply hurt people who have been deeply hurt? You know what I mean? And that's where that distrust comes from. How do we become that light, that beacon that they can trust? Please send me an email because I would like to practice that.
Yeah, let us know. Tracy King says, my friend left this morning. He was only there for 2 weeks. He's been on pain pills and heroin for over 10 years. Please pray.
All right.
We will be praying for him, Tracy.
So no,
That's
you're
sad.
talking about some trust therapy thing?
Mm-hmm.
Should bring Amos with you.
So in spite of all that happened, that person may not have reached this particular rock bottom experience that could begin to break down addictive thinking. Remember rock bottom? That's when our perception changes on what is better or worse. If alcohol and drugs are always in the better, we're going to choose that because as human nature, we are like water and we flow to what's easiest. So it is generally a matter of time before the addict realizes that the therapist was right and that his or her thinking has been faulty. So when we would sit in group therapy in my IOP, right? And we always called it out. You were on the hot seat tonight. You okay? You know, we'd always pat them on the back at the end of session. You all right? And that was the hot seat. How you feeling? You know, kind of encourage them. And a lot of times it got heated. And now after studying these books and this far into recovery, I see what the counselor was doing. And it was trying to break through this addictive thinking to get them to think differently. And the therapist would tell us something, right? This is the way it is, and this is the way you're acting. What does everybody else think? And then give us all a chance. And we would all say the same thing pretty much because we're all seeing, once you're in recovery clicks and you're there to continue to learn. Our counselor basically was teaching us to be able to counsel each other. And we would see, you can't BS a BSer, right? And we'd see right through it. And everybody would have pretty much the same opinion. And then the counselor would look back at the person and be like, hey, if you got a tell, if I tell you that you have a tell and everybody else is telling you have a tell, you need to turn around and look to see if you got one because you got one. If 500 people are telling you that you're wrong, you're probably wrong, kind of a thing. If you think you're right, but more than a handful of people are telling you, nah, you're wrong, dude, you're probably wrong. And this is what happens. And generally, in a matter of time, the addict realizes that the therapist was right and that his or her own thinking has been faulty. The addict then usually returns to treatment, this time with greater trust of a therapist. So this is just like a cycle that we go through. So what has been said about trust applies to everyone who wishes to relate to the addicts constructively. This includes not only the therapist, but also family members, employers, pastors, sponsors, and friends in the recovery program. Each can earn trust, respect, and guard it carefully. Guard it carefully. If you earn the trust and respect of fellow addicts and alcoholics who are looking for support, and then you turn around and backhand them in the mouth, that is not cool. So earn that trust with the intention in mind that we're all going to grow, and because we recover better together. And wow, we made it through that chapter.
No two-parter. Sorry, John. It was a one-parter.
I have to be able to take suggestions and willing to. Absolutely. We have to stay teachable, Chad. That is absolutely right. Once we are, I don't care how old we are never, we have a little tiny finite mind. There is no way to learn everything that's ever been taught and learned in history of the creation of the world to all of a sudden think, I don't need to learn anything from anybody. You can always learn something from somebody, even if they are your worst enemy.
Even the parents can learn stuff from the kids.
Even kids can teach parents.
That's very true. Jake says, LT, so true. My first time I got clean, I relapsed after 40 days. Had to go get treatment. The first time round has been easier. Oh, this time round has been easier after I had my spiritual awakening and letting my higher power, being God, guide me to the new life I'm living today and happy with myself. Guys, if you ain't already let God guide y'all, he is awesome in every way.
Amen, Jake.
Jerry can relate.
I can relate too, brother.
I'm still teachable, Chad, says Aubrey.
Yes, we have to be. The moment we're not teachable is the moment we are in trouble. The moment that we think that our experiences are so grand and grandioso that we know everything and can see through anything. And my first initial reaction is, what's better? Yeah, we're in trouble.
Yes, teachable takes quite a bit of humility to be teachable.
Yes, it does. I'm going to have Felice plug the Recovering Addict Facebook group for those of you who need support from this chat. Everybody in this chat's, most everybody in this chat is in the private. It's a private Facebook group, so what you post on the group cannot be shared, or you could actually reach out in there and get to know people. And like Des said, and I'm going to promote this all the time now that Des brought it to my attention. Here in America, it's nighttime. And if we are struggling into the wee hours, guess what? Our friends in Australia are already in the middle of the day tomorrow. So reach out, they're awake, and vice versa. When it's nighttime in Australia and you're struggling, your American recovery family over here is awake during the day. Reach out. So with the crazy thing that's happening in the world, we got COVID, rioting, now it's back to COVID and more lockdowns. We are blessed to have the technology we have. Could you imagine back in the early 90s when you had to completely rely on the local AA and NA or whatever was set up in your community for recovery, and the phone was still hooked to the wall, and if you were struggling alone, you may not have been able to reach anybody. And then even through technology growing, but now where it's at now, there is with the multiple YouTube pages, the multiple Facebook groups that we can all be a part of, we can always find somebody to help. Like the other day, somebody reached out and said, hey, I need a Zoom meeting. If you reach out to some people in the chat who have their own Zooms, hey, I just put it on the Facebook group. I need a Zoom meeting. I'll guarantee within 20 minutes, somebody will post a link to a Zoom meeting, and you could probably get 3 to, 15 people to show up.
I also threw in the Discord under Leonard Weaver.
What?
It didn't go to, usually it says Recovering Addict.
Oh, that's my private Facebook page right there if y'all want to friend request me.
That's his real name.
That's my real name. Did you notice Christy was calling me that yesterday on the live?
Leonard?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
She's like, Leonard and Felice.
Raylan says she loves being a part of this group.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
love you here too. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're glad you're here. 24-hour Zoom meetings. Yep. Before not available, someone in Australia is. Naomi, I pray that one day I can be successful enough in my sobriety sobriety to help others, addicts, alcoholics, the way that you all are. This is so beautiful.
You already are, Naomi, by being a part of the chat and the comments. It's weird to sound. I guess it kind of sounds weird, but new people asking for help, giving somebody that's had years in sobriety the opportunity to give back and help is helping. Believe it or not, we recovered better together. We're a community, and you'll see that when you get down there, because I have faith that you will. When you start, where do you feel like now? I feel like I'm giving. You know, right now you kind of feel like you're absorbing and maybe asking for help and support, but you'll get to that point where you're looking for somebody to help and support because you know what you've been helped and supported through. And by your help, just by somebody being there to help helps you. And that's what helps me stay sober. You all hold me accountable to read, go through these chapters with you. It has sped up my recovery and education. I've learned tenfold more than I would have if we didn't do this.
Yep, says we are 3 a.m. American Mountain Time on your early Wednesday, 2 a.m. Pacific, 4 Central, and 5 Eastern. 7 p.m. in Melbourne.
Where's your stool? What you got there?
Erin says it helps her to remember where she came from.
Yeah, that too.
Let's see. Hey, you're a new face.
Adrian.
Welcome. Glad you're piping in.
Hope I said that name right.
I am currently in rehab in Phoenix. Beautiful beginnings.
Oh,
That's
nice.
a wonderful name. I'll keep reading. I just wanted to say hello and much love and respect to my best friend Candace in the Sawyer house.
Man, shout out to all the rehab centers in Arizona.
Thank you, Arizona. Naomi, you will be one day at a time. That is true.
Petey, man, he has made some awesome progress. He was in Mississippi and came out of a rehab program, and he's part of our community now and just trucking through recovery.
I'm so lost. I thought you guys were in Australia. What the heck? We're not in Australia.
Right.
I'm not.
What's the matter?
I'm not
You
crying.
smell like a
I give away
Battery.
what was freely given to me, and that's what keeps me clean.
Amen, Chad. That's
Very
beautiful.
good, Chad. Love it. Wait for it. Here comes a comment from John. Wait for it.
Anchored Hearts, John?
No, John P.
Oh, John
He
V.
says we recovered better together
By staying safe. Staying sane. Staying strong. Staying sober. You're worth it. Good night, family. Good night, John. Thank you for being here, brother. It was wonderful talking to you on the Zoom today.
Yes, very wonderful.
Yeah, buddy.
Go
Surrender.
Cowboys!
Go Cowboy. He saw Chad's Cowboy logo.
Got a Cowboy fan in the house. Got a Cowboy fan.
Oh, boy. I'm a Raiders fan, y'all.
Okay.
The reason I'm a Raiders fan, I don't watch sports. I don't watch basketball or nothing like that. I did throw that Karl Malone thing in there because I'm from Utah, but my uncle told me when I was about 8 years old, the Raiders is your favorite team. I said, okay, that's that. But I don't pay attention.
Peter said Broncos.
Yes.
That's Lincoln's team right there,
All
Broncos.
day, every day, Fitty Tyson.
Oh, sweet.
Yay! Glad you joined.
Sweet. I'm glad you're in there. Way cool.
Go Cowboys.
Oh, boy. Now look what you started.
I couldn't be happier about finding this group. I'm sending so much love to each and every person in this group. I feel so much more at peace about my sober journey already.
Awesome. We're glad you're here, Naomi. Let's read. So if you noticed at the beginning of the stream, I open it up with the AA thought of the day out of the 24 hours a day. At the end of the stream, we go through Just for Today by NA. So it's AA, NA. I go to both. I've been crazy drugs. I've been crazy alcohol. I like both. So it says surrendering self-will. Our fears are lessened and faith begins to grow as we learn the true meaning of surrender. We are no longer fighting fear against fear, anger, guilt, self-pity, or depression. That's basic text, page 27. Wow, this is a longer one. Surrender is the beginning of a new way of life. When driven primarily by self-will, we constantly wonder whether we covered all the bases, whether we've manipulated that person in just the right way to achieve our ends, whether we've missed a critical detail in our effort to control and manage the world. We either felt afraid, fearing our schemes would fail, angry or self-pitying when they fell through, or guilty when we pulled them off. It was hard, living on self-will, but we didn't know any other way. Not that surrender is always easy. On the contrary, surrender can be difficult, especially in the beginning. Still, it is easier to trust God, a power capable of managing our lives, than to trust only ourselves, whose lives are unmanageable. And the more we surrender, the easier it gets. When we turn our will and our lives over to the care of our higher power, all we have to do is our part, and responsible and conspicuously as we can. Then we can leave the results to our higher power by surrendering, acting on faith, and living our lives according to the simple spiritual principles of this program. We can stop worrying and start living. So just for today, I will surrender self-will. I will seek knowledge of God's will for me and the power to carry it out. I will leave the results in my higher power's hands.
Amen. Amen, amen, amen. Lots of sports talks going on. Bob says he don't do any sports. He
Or
doesn't have to do
baseball.
any.
I don't do any sports either.
Baseball,
bigger fish to fry.
disc golf.
Same, Bob.
I'm gonna do sport.
String repair turn?
Hmm?
You talk to the string repair, man.
Are you going to type it?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Wait, let's see what.
What's your good news, Aubrey? Your video's done?
Where can I find that? Except I definitely need that printed on my wall as my daily reminder. I felt like you were reading off a list of ways I have been toxic. I didn't realize that my alcoholism was related.
Oh, yeah.
So
So Naomi, this is, if you go to your app store, I don't know if you have Apple or Google, you can go to the Play Store or whatever, but it's called Key Tag for NA. You can't really tell. But you open it up, it gives you your sobriety date right there. And then you hit on the bottom and it's the just for today. You can even Google just for today, NA, and go to June 26, 2020, and it's called Surrender Self-Will. NA has just for today, AA has the daily reflection, and then we read in the beginning of the show 24-hour a day.
that's from Linky, helping y'all out.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Amen.
Well, it's Friday night, y'all, so that is the end of our show. If you do need to get off and go to bed, but if not, you got any questions and you just want to chit-chat, we're here to hang out now.
Time to hang out.
I wanna watch a movie.
We're here to hang out now, y'all. We're just chilling.
Yep.
Talk to you guys in the comments.
All right, Boo. I'm gonna address you. How can we be closer?
Boo boo
Want to
baby.
be closer? You seem distant. They
You
put me in
tell me.
timeout. Who put you in timeout?
One of our wrenches.
Oh,
So
how come?
elaborate. Tell me what I can do better.
Who put
And
us
I
in
can
timeout?
do
You give me
that.
some tea.
Nobody put us in timeout.
Yes.
So Bob ran his TV over with the tractor. That's one way to get rid of it.
Tiny pieces as well as plastic bricks. That's true, dude. We've had those big tube TVs before. You know, the big glass ones at the front. Took them to the dump. If you take them to the dump and you throw them in a way that it lands glass down, it sounds like a bomb goes off. Boom! Shakes the walls. It's pretty awesome.
Or you throw a brick on top of them.
Or a brick on top of them is really good.
Yeah, I like when we made all the cans explode. Is that what we're talking about?
TVs.
Oh, I liked when we made the cans explode.
TVs at the.
Post-game show. Recovering Addict post-game. That's what we're doing.
We're in the. Hey, y'all asked for encore the other day.
Oh, I didn't tell you what Aubrey said was the good news.
Oh
He
yeah.
said they lifted the ban on no more nicotine entering into Australia until January
Until January. You got 6 months.
So he can get his nicotines.
What happened? Why were you in timeout, Boo?
She said that I seem distant, and so somebody put her in timeout.
Oh, dear, but
Well, it wasn't the time to address it, so I addressed it now. So please elaborate. We're in the middle of reading.
Good night, Ashley.
Good night, Ashley. Sleep well, and proud of you for another 24 days sober right now, y'all. If you're going to bed, you're sober. Pat yourself on the back.
Say a prayer that you'll be sober tomorrow.
Heck
Yes, Office is Life. One of the best TV shows ever.
With your Munder Difflin.
Yep, I got my Dunder Mifflin. Thank you, Jeremy. I like your shirt too.
Oh,
That was
thanks.
all right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's just my favorite colors.
Thank you, Jeremy Shaw. Glad you're here.
Elvis shot his.
Probably. I can see that.
Aubrey, I think, said something about, oh, he threw a beer bottle at his TV. That happens. Good night, Ashley.
Because was that for sports? I wonder.
Was it for sports?
Jack took the controller at the wall in a smiley face.
You are welcome, Ashley.
Love you too, Boo.
Don't be sad. Just elaborate.
She said distance and different time. That's why.
I know why she was in timeout.
Oh.
I did not put you there. I was just waiting for a more proper moment to ask you. That's why I messaged you instead of stuck it up there.
Ooh, that's what I thought.
What?
You got sobriety.
Whoa. Linky said that's us. Let's do it again. Us.
This is us, sobriety.
Bam.
Ta-da!
Your heart's way better than mine. Oh, I see how you did it.
Hey, it's
You
no
wanna do
biggie.
this one?
If there's an issue, I'm all about addressing it and making things
There's no
better for
issue.
everybody. And if there's something you see that I don't see or nobody else sees, please let out to me. I sent you a message. Reach out to me on Facebook. We can chat anytime, boo.
I could crush TVs with buckets of payloader.
Oh, see, Teeter, I was trying not to name names, but you done ratted yourself out.
Teeter. Teeter's like, I got it rich.
I was
Where did
being
he go?
what I was being Switzerland. He's 2 down.
Oh yeah. Boo knows. She's been here before, Teeter. Boo knows this is non-judgmental zone. Non-judgmental zone.
Stop throwing gang signs. Yeah, you too.
Rah. Anybody know this gang sign?
Felice Weaver. You can find me on Facebook,
Me and
boo.
Dad know this king sign.
Just look me up.
Yeah.
LT.
LT.
LT. Winter Ted, link tie.
West Side.
No.
Now what do we talk about?
Aw, thanks, Naomi. She said you two are adorable. They are adorable.
Target price.
Millie's hiding from me behind the couch. Don't tell her I know where she is. Oh, funny. Love you too, Polly. Oh, bless you too, Polly.
Blackhawks fan. If I had to go with hockey, all right, here's my if I watched sports. I do have my favorites, even though I don't watch. If I were to watch sports, I would watch baseball. I love watching baseball. Millie, don't be touching stuff, okay? Thank you. That's like playing under the hood of the car while we're driving. Sports. Hockey would be Detroit Red Wings. Baseball, Toronto Blue Jays. Football, now the Las Vegas Raiders. Basketball, obviously Utah Jazz. I miss anything?
I'll give
Soccer, I guess I'd have to
Put
go
my
with
email
Real
on
because
here.
it's Salt Lake.
You can let me play soccer.
sounds like you don't have Facebook.
Who doesn't
Here's
have Facebook?
my email address. Oh, there you go.
What are you doing?
Talking to Boo. I like
Yankees?
baseball. I'm a Phillies fan.
Yeah, Ashley, baseball.
I'm a magic
It's the
trick.
only sport, well, maybe not the only, but one of the only sports where the ball just doesn't go back and forth, right?
I'm a
And it's
magic
so precise, like the scientific precision from the pitcher's mound to the home plate, the bases, everything is just amazing. It's like it's at humans' exact capacity. If that ball traveled any faster, it would be impossible. It's just look at the science of baseball, and then to be able to maintain that many games in a year, the physical condition of being able to, like the pitchers, catchers are those dudes are tough, and then the first basemen, I don't know. Baseball is just
I was a pitcher.
intriguing to me.
I think I was a
Yes,
pitcher and a catcher.
I
Yes,
was a
right?
Merc, it is Pee-wee, but W-E-A, like Weaver. I like it. It rhymes.
I
The
was
strategy, the role of the managers, yes. John, I think you know what I'm talking about. Every bit of baseball is just intriguing.
yeah, I think I was a pitcher. and a
When to
catcher.
change out, when to pull in the closers, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a
baseball is
magic
good.
trick.
I liked
I'm a
our year
magic
of
trick.
baseball.
If you're having a bad day, if you're having a good day, the conditions, oh man, it's just, you never know.
Speaking of baseball, I, used to-
Nobody can dominate except for Bo Jackson. He was amazing.
I was a pitcher and a catcher.
Yeah, Linky, before his accident, he was a good little catcher. He started pitching too.
Played,
What did Michael Teeter say?
Phillies.
I played shortstop too.
Phillies. Phillies. That's what he said.
I think that's what Polly said.
Brittany said to check Messenger real quick.
Checking right now.
She can't see us.
Dad,
Wait, just
What is it?
How can I fix this on my TV? It's annoying. Oh, that's because it's your phone and you're looking at it sideways. Are you streaming from your phone? If you're streaming from your phone, you'd have to shut off the comments. And
It
that's
looks
why.
like a TV.
Somehow you just got to shut off the comments, or if you're streaming from your phone, it's probably on landscape mode. And that's usually what puts the comments like that. Other than that, that's all I know.
Dad, he's on his
I don't
TV.
know either. UK Wildcats all the way.
Dad, I have a magic trick.
You get Wildcats. Right on. What you got, babe?
Got a magic trick.
Oh, Millie's got a magic trick.
I'm gonna make this float on my phone.
Dang, how'd you do
Good
that?
night, Sky.
Night, Sky. Have a good night.
okay.
Jeremy said the Raiders. I thought you were winners.
Bo, yeah, 100%. Bo Jackson was to dominate football and then to dominate baseball. Just what? And I told you why, Jerry. My uncle told me when I was 8, around that age, the Raiders are your favorite team.
I think Amos likes the Steelers.
Yeah, Amos does like the Steelers.
It was brought you closer to your dad and uncles. Yankees game stayed. Yeah, heck yeah, it did. Yeah, baseball is awesome.
Good night,
dude.
TJ.
Mhm.
We went, hey, you guys, since we're just hanging out and I make YouTube videos, other than what you see here, I'm going to show you guys one from my old channel. One from my old channel. Let me jump into it real quick. And I'll let it play. If you guys don't like it, then I don't know what to
That's what we have to tell you.
tell you. Okay. Do you remember this trip, guys? I don't know. Where'd I put it?
Oh, do that one.
Maybe we remember.
Wow, it's a long video.
Oh,
We'll just skim
I
through it.
can't remember.
All right, you
I need a haircut.
are you guys down to watch a family trip video that I made?
For
And
12
it has
minutes?
baseball in it. It's a 12-minute video. But if you guys are down to get to know the Weavers just a little more in some videos that I make, let me know and I'll play
bald
it.
head.
Maybe I'll fast forward through the boring parts, but still let you
Yeah.
get to know us a little more.
No, yes.
Get to know yous, Link says. Did I click the audio?
Yeah.
We were in Eagle County, Colorado.
What?
We've been in Eagle County, Colorado all weekend. We left Wednesday for a baseball tournament. Kid right there. Tournament didn't go as planned. Lost all 4 games. Where are you hiding for it?
Tired.
I'm tired.
So tired from.
I don't know.
At the last minute, we decided we're going to head to Denver to watch the Rockies play.
Jerry said you drive like me.
Colorado Rockies. I like that. So since we're here, might as well go see them. I'm in a parking car. Only take cash, so I got to go get some money. Yes, I'm on a skateboard. Be right
He
back.
calls it the Superman.
Sunday fun day.
Oh, where'd you run off to?
Did you get money?
Have a good guy.
You too. Say hi to everybody on YouTube.
Hello. Who's that?
We're always doing little fun adventures like this in the Weaver family spontaneity. Made it. We got the parking pass. We took the skateboard downtown to get us some money for our parking because nobody takes cars down here. Just cash.
Right over there. Did you go to fireworks?
Yeah. I saw their mom.
I know that's a pity.
Look at young Linky. There's the Rocky Stadium right there. I'm not a fan of big crowds.
Oh, you know, one time K's W, that's the last name.
Look at you, Linky, right after the accident, pretty much.
Still nothing.
Yes.
Gotta get real sharp. So hell with my soul. Like that. Played for the Giants last year. That is Denard's fan.
Eating hot dog.
Video. Backwards kick. Take me out to the ground. Why be so deep to grab your Jackson? For it's 1, 2, 3 steps you're out of the old bucket.
Thank you, Groove.
Thanks, Groove. I just hit a walk-off homer as we were leaving. But we're beating the crowd. Look at that crowd behind us. Got a saxophone guy over here.
Oh, this was my favorite.
Yeah, this lady's cool.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe. Come on, hit that button. I got all you guys on video jaywalking right now.
You're doing it too.
I'm a cameraman. It's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Who's just jaywalked?
I'm too young to jaywalk. Get that one. I know. You got it, big.
I think maybe just like advertise it as like there's no THC in there, but
Now that the game's over, we're gonna head to a hotel. See what kind of hotel we can find. We're in Denver right now. We made no plans. We just went for it. Took tomorrow off work, and we're gonna see what kind of hotel. 2 requirements: comfortable beds and a swimming pool.
Exactly.
Shop on Amazon.
Thanks, no.
What does everybody think about their first MLB game?
Awesome.
Favorite parts?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't get to see any home runs.
Yeah.
We heard a home run.
A little upset about it, I feel.
When a person hit the ball.
Favorite part probably was when they had the review with it was Blackman or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
And he was going into third, and they did a review because they were going to see if he was safe or not with the tag, or if he was out.
I'm gonna save this when I'm older. Maybe it's gonna be worth something.
Let's go find a hotel.
And it's gonna
Like
end
the
up.
sun pool.
And it's gonna end up in a drawer in your room. Watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the drawer of my room.
for us a
Leave it
hotel.
there until I'm like 60, and then I'm gonna go.
60.
Oh,
You're gonna live in that house till you're 60. They're
all like $200.
Let's get a suite. Let's get $500 suite, or maybe $2,000 suite. I don't even care.
Oh, perfect.
Now we're at the Ramada Plaza. Checking in. These kids want to go swimming so bad. Every time they go out, it's the only thing they want to do is swim. I don't like swimming.
So we are. We're about to go in the elevator. So. Dad, your battery's about to die.
I know. It's okay. Will do. Keep going.
Don't tell him, man.
Feel of a 5-year-old. That's
There's the 5-year-old.
I saw it. And
Thanks, Naomi.
I missed that sort of thing. What? That was a clue.
You can see all the scars on things.
And we can see.
I like that best.
Making YouTube videos, hanging out in Denver. Somewhere near Denver. The Ramadas. We got a bunch of baseball teams, a bunch of baseball families down here.
Pretty sure John's going.
I'll just put holes right here. Yeah.
Here you go, guys. Look up from Brody.
This is when the kids take over and it gets really shaky and annoying.
Bye-bye, kids.
Thanks for watching our little video there. That was a fun little trip back in, man, when was that?
39:45. 34. 2 years ago, probably.
That was July 30th, 2018. Wow.
I want to do that again.
2 years ago, almost exactly.
Reverse front flip. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it, dude. That was crazy. He's the only one in the family that can do it.
Yeah, he's super athletic.
Yeah, he misses athletic. All right, well, that's our show for this evening. We thank you for hanging out and enjoying our family. Thanks for being here for my sobriety, you guys. You have no idea how much you helped me stay on the road to recovery. You know, road to relapse, road to recovery. You guys keep me on track a lot more than you even know. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We're going to go over, I think we're in chapter 20. Isn't that right, Bob? Yeah, chapter 20. And we're going to talk about spirituality and spiritual emptiness. That should be a good one. Until
Thank you, Bob.
tomorrow, do not put yourself in a high-risk situation. Stay strong, work your program, and remember that we recover better together.